If you're watching this from the USA or the UK, stop scrolling for just 5 seconds because what happens in this story will make your jaw drop, your heart pound, and if you've ever been underestimated a single day in your life, you're about to feel seen. And before we dive in, hit that subscribe button because stories like this, where justice flips in the blink of an eye, drop here every single week. And trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next. The day it started, nobody paid attention to the shy girl walking into Ridgewood Martial Arts Academy, her hoodie slightly oversized, her hair pulled into a messy bun that hid part of her face, her steps cautious like someone who had been mocked enough times to know the safest thing was to stay small. Her name was Leia, quiet but observant, and though she carried more weight than the other students, she carried something else, to something deeper, heavier, something they didn't bother noticing. The black belts circling the mat that afternoon didn't see a person. They saw a target. They saw someone to laugh at, someone they thought didn't belong in a room filled with trophies, medals, and sweat-soaked tradition. The instructor, Master Reddick, was out of town for a certification event, leaving the older students in charge, and that was exactly where everything went wrong. The ringleader of the black belts, a tall, sharp-faced guy named Trenton, cracked his knuckles while smirking at her. "You sure you're in the right place?" He called across the mat loud enough for everyone to hear. A few others snickered. Leia's cheeks burned, but she said nothing. She'd learned silence was safer. She clutched her beginner's form sheet like it was a life vest. "Hey, I'm talking to you," Trenton continued, stepping closer with that cruel confidence kids get when they've always been the strongest in the room. "Did someone drop you off here by accident?" Another boy chimed in with a laugh. "Maybe she's here for the bakery next door." Leia didn't look up. She didn't need to. She'd heard every variation of that joke since she was 9. She simply walked to the far corner of the mat and began copying the warm-up stretches she'd seen on YouTube, hoping they'd just get bored and leave her alone. But they didn't. Bullies never do. The group of black belts circled closer, like wolves who smelled fear. They weren't touching her yet, but their shadows fell over her like a taunt. "Let her try," said Mia, one of the kinder brown belts, though her voice trembled like she already knew it wouldn't help. Trenton rolled his eyes. "Why?" "She quit in 5 minutes. Maybe she won't," Mia said. "She paid for the class like everyone else. She paid for the floor space she's taking up," muttered one of the boys behind Trenton, earning more laughter. Trenton crossed his arms and tilted his head. "All right, new girl, show us your front kick." Leia froze. It wasn't her turn. This wasn't part of warm-ups. And the way he said it made her stomach twist because it wasn't a request, it was a setup. "Come on," Trenton coaxed. "It's simple. Just lift your leg and try not to break the mat." More laughter, harder this time. Something in Leia's chest clenched, a mixture of humiliation and exhaustion, but also something else, a spark. A small, stubborn flame she'd tried years to bury. She inhaled slowly, grounding her feet, remembering a voice from long ago, her father's voice, teaching her to draw breath from the belly. She lifted her chin, just a little. "I'll try," she said quietly. "Oh," one boy mocked. "She speaks." She ignored it, centered herself, raised her knee, extended her leg. And the kick she delivered wasn't perfect, but it wasn't clumsy either, controlled, balanced, shockingly sharp for someone who had never taken a formal class. The black belt stopped laughing. For half a breath anyway. Then Trenton's eyebrows lowered. Jealousy flared behind his grin. "Lucky shot," he muttered. But Leia wasn't looking at them anymore. She was remembering a backyard, a pair of old red boxing gloves, her father's gentle hands adjusting her stance, telling her she was stronger than she knew. Before he died, he taught her enough to defend herself, but grief had swallowed that part of her whole, until now. "Let's do something harder," Trenton said, stepping closer. Mia intervened. "She's a beginner. Stay out of it," he snapped. Then, with the eager cruelty of someone who loved an audience, he clapped his hands. "All right, guys. Let's give her a real test. A little spar? 5 seconds? Anyone want to go in?" Leia's breath hitched. I don't think..." Oh, relax, Trenton smirked. We'll go easy, easy, the biggest lie a bully ever tells. The boy behind him, Derek, cracked his neck and stepped forward. I'll do it, won't touch her. Just want to see how she moves, Mia tried again. Trenton, this ISNT allowed without an instructor. He is not gonna hit her. Trenton lied again. Derek put his mouthguard in. Leia backed up, shaken now, pulse racing, breathing shallow. You don't have to do this, Mia whispered. But something in Leia had already shifted. A pressure building in her chest, not fear, no, fear she understood. This was different. This was anger. And beneath it, something even stronger, resolve. Derek bowed mockingly. Leia raised her hands the way her father taught her. Wide stance, guard up, knees soft. Ready? Trenton called. She swallowed. Nodded once. Go! Derek lunged forward fast, faster than she expected, but instincts kicked in before fear could. Her father's voice echoed. Don't meet force. Redirect it. Derek's arm shot out to tag her shoulder, and without thinking, Leia sidestepped, pivoted, hooked her foot behind his ankle, and Derek hit the mat so hard the sound cracked across the room. The other black belts froze, mouths open. What the... Did she trip him? No, that was a sweep. Derek scrambled up, humiliated. Lucky, he charged again, angrier this time. Stop. Mia started, but it was too late. Leia moved faster than she understood, ducking under his arm, pivoting around him, using his momentum again, THUD. Derek was on the ground again, harder. This time he couldn't speak, too stunned to process what happened. 5 seconds hadn't even passed. Trenton's face twisted, the crowd silent except for Mia's tiny gasp. And then, like insecurity wrapped in a black belt, Trenton stepped onto the mat himself. My turn, he growled. And Leia, breathing harder now, staring into the eyes of the boy who'd mocked her without mercy, finally realized something. She wasn't the one who should be scared. Trenton stepped onto the mat with the swagger of someone who'd never lost a fight in front of an audience, and even though Leia's heart was thumping like a trapped bird inside her chest, something in her refused to shrink this time. The room had shifted. The laughter was gone, replaced by a stunned electric silence, the kind that comes before either a miracle or disaster, and even Mia's soft, worried breaths sounded loud. Trenton circled her slowly, analyzing her with narrowed eyes. He didn't see a beginner anymore. He saw a threat to his dominance, a crack in the hierarchy he had built his entire personality around. That little stunt might have impressed the kids, he muttered. But don't think you can pull it on me. Leia didn't answer. She was too busy fighting the war inside herself, fear versus instinct, panic versus the distant but warm memory of her father telling her, power isn't in the punch, it's in the control. Trenton lunged. Not a playful feint, not a beginner-level jab, no, he went in hard. A fast, low sweep aimed at her ankle, clearly trying to put her on the ground to restore the natural order in his head. But Leia didn't freeze this time. Her instincts lit like a fuse. She hopped lightly, the sweep missing by centimeters, and Trenton's eyes widened. He hadn't expected speed, especially from her. Before he could reset, Leia stepped in, not striking, not kicking, just placing her foot exactly where his center of balance tilted. A small nudge of her shoulder, a pivot, and, thud, Trenton hit the ground. The room gasped. Mia slapped her hand over her mouth. The younger belts whispered frantically. Trenton scrambled up so fast it looked like someone rewound a tape. Again, he growled, red creeping up his neck. His ego was bleeding, and it was spreading like a stain. He charged again, faster this time. He faked left, then swung right, trying to tag her shoulder to prove something, but Leia ducked, twisted, and his hand sliced through empty air. She wasn't thinking anymore. She was reacting, flowing, redirecting, breathing in rhythm, her father's voice guiding her even though he was gone. Trenton spun, going for a back kick, and Leia recognized the telegraphed movement instantly. She stepped out of line and, without planning to, placed her palm gently against his spine just enough to push his momentum further than he intended. Trenton toppled, hard. He slid across the mat, belt twisting, pride shattering into pieces too small to gather. The room erupted not in cheers, but disbelief. No way, she just... Twice? Derek stared with his mouth open, still rubbing the back of his head from earlier. Trenton popped to his feet again, eyes wild, a mix of embarrassment and anger boiling together. He wasn't thinking about safety rules or control anymore. He was thinking about humiliation, and humiliation is dangerous. I said stop. Mia shouted, stepping forward, but Trenton shoved past her. Get out of the way, he barked. I'm not done. Leia's breathing quickened. This wasn't training now. This was something uglier. She raised her hands again, palms inward, grounding herself. I don't want to fight you, she said, voice trembling but steady. Trenton sneered. Too late. He lunged, full force, breaking every safety rule in the academy. And something inside Leia snapped, not in fear, but in clarity. She didn't back away. She stepped in. She caught his arm with one hand, shifted her weight, redirected his momentum like water flowing around a rock, and boom. Trenton hit the mat so hard the entire room flinched. He didn't get up right away. His breath punched out of him, his pride crushed beneath the weight of reality. Leia stepped back instantly, horrified, hands shaking. Not because she'd hurt him, but because she didn't understand how she'd done it so effortlessly. This is insane, whispered someone in the back. She's like advanced, but she's never trained. How is she doing that? Mia approached Leia slowly, eyes wide with awe. Where did you learn this? Leia swallowed hard, tears threatening. My dad, he taught me before he... She didn't finish the sentence, but she didn't need to. Mia nodded gently. Some of the black belts exchanged uneasy glances, stunned that they had just bullied someone who possessed real skill, natural, instinctive skill they couldn't explain. Then, the door at the far end of the academy opened. A hush swept the room. Master Reddick walked in, tall, stern, calm, with the kind of aura that turned chaos into order simply by entering. His eyes scanned the room, the overturned gear, the scattered water bottles. The guilty faces? Trenton crumpled on the mat holding his ribs. And Leia, standing alone in the center like she'd just woken from a dream she didn't even know she was dreaming. What, Master Reddick said slowly, is going on here? No one spoke. Trenton tried and failed to rise fully. Derek looked away. Mia squeezed Leia's hand. And Leia, trembling with adrenaline, shame, fear, and something like pride, realized something powerful as Master Reddick's gaze rested on her. This was only the beginning. The real conflict hadn't even started yet. The silence after Master Reddick's question felt like a thick weight pressing down on everyone, and even the air in the academy seemed to freeze as he stepped forward, his expression unreadable, the kind of look that made even the toughest students feel like their bones were made of glass. Trenton finally managed to stand, though his stance was unsteady, and he opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out, only a pathetic wheeze of air, because he knew that no version of the truth would make him look good, and lying to Reddick was like lying to a human polygraph. Derek attempted to step in, but one sharp look from the instructor turned him into a statue. It was Mia, trembling but brave, who finally spoke. Master, they forced her to spar. She motioned to Leia, whose hands were still raised slightly from adrenaline and fear. She didn't want to. They ganged up on her. A ripple of shame moved across the group of black belts, but none dared defend themselves. Master Reddick's gaze hardened. Is that true? He asked Trenton quietly, and the quietness was worse than shouting. It was controlled disappointment, a tone that cut deeper than any punishment. Trenton swallowed, his face pale. We were just training. Training, Reddick repeated slowly, his voice like stone. Under my rules? Without permission? With a beginner? You know better. He turned his attention fully to Leia, and she felt suddenly small again, like all the confidence she had built in the last 10 minutes evaporated. Come here, he said softly, but it wasn't a request or a threat, it was something else. She stepped forward, every muscle buzzing. Reddick studied her posture, her stance, her breathing, the natural placement of her feet. Then he looked at the others, especially Trenton, who winced. Show me, Reddick said. Leia blinked. What? Show me how you moved, he said. I want to see it, Mia whispered. He wants to see the sweep. The big one. But Leia's stomach tightened. She shook her head. I don't want to hurt anyone. Reddick nodded once. Then use me. The room erupted in low gasps. No one demonstrated techniques on Master Reddick. Not even advanced black belts. Trenton's face drained to pure white. Derek took a step back. Mia's eyes widened in panic. Master, she's not ready. She won't hurt me, Reddick said calmly, his eyes still on Leia. Because she knows control. Leia felt her throat close. Her father had said that same sentence once, in the backyard, sunlight through the trees, sweat on her forehead, pride in his eyes. She inhaled shakily. Okay, she whispered. Reddick stepped into position, knees soft, stance open, hands relaxed, not challenging, just present, allowing. Come at me how Trenton did, he said. The room held its breath. Leia moved slowly at first, almost timidly, raising her hands, stepping forward, but then she felt it again. That instinctive flow, that memory in her muscles, that natural rhythm she never understood until now. She lunged not aggressively, but with intention, and Reddick met her movement halfway, adjusting to her speed. She redirected him exactly as she had done before, letting his momentum guide the motion, her foot sweeping lightly past his, her shoulder nudging precisely. Reddick dropped. Gracefully controlled, landing in a soft roll, not because she overpowered him, because he let the flow happen, because he recognized the authenticity of the movement. When he stood, his expression was not shocked. It was something deeper, respect. Trenton's jaw unhinged. Derek looked like he'd seen a ghost. The younger belt suddenly stared at Leia like she was something entirely new. Reddick exhaled slowly. Where did you learn that? Leia swallowed hard. My dad, he trained me when I was little. He was a martial artist? Reddick asked. Leia nodded. Not professionally. But he studied for years. He taught me basics until he... Her voice broke. Mia touched her shoulder gently. Reddick's expression softened with understanding. I'm sorry, he said. But he taught you well. The words struck Leia like a warm wave, comforting, shocking, validating all at once. She hadn't heard praise like that in years. Reddick turned to the class, his voice growing sharp. And what you did today was unacceptable. This academy is not a playground for ego. It is not a stage for humiliation. Anyone who targets another student, especially one who is still learning, has no place on these mats. Trenton stiffened. Master. Enough, Reddick said, raising a hand. You've embarrassed yourself. And worse, you've disgraced the belt you wear. Trenton's face twisted with anger, shame, frustration. It is not fair. She made us look stupid. She didn't make you anything, Reddick snapped. Your choices did. Then he turned to Leia. If you're willing, he said, voice gentler now, I want to train you formally. The room exploded in whispers. Train her? Master wants her? After one day? But Reddick wasn't finished. You have instinct, he said. Raw skill. Something rare. Something you don't see often. Leia's heart fluttered, her stomach tight, her mind spinning. But, she whispered, I'm not like them. She gestured to Mia, the others, all lean and fit and experienced. But Reddick shook his head. Martial arts isn't about looking a certain way. It's about who you are. And then something happened that no one expected. Master! A voice shouted from the doorway. Everyone turned. Mrs. Halloran, the academy's manager, rushed inside with her tablet, looking panicked. We have a problem, she said breathlessly. Someone recorded everything, the sweeps, the fight, the bullying. Leia froze, and it's gone viral. A cold rush shot through Leia's body. The black belts paled. Derek whispered, Oh no. Trenton looked like he might faint. How viral? Reddick asked quietly. Halloran swallowed. 3 million views. In the last hour. And just like that, everything Leia feared and everything she didn't know she wanted collided at once. Her life was no longer small. It was exploding faster than she could breathe.